public mind, you are not evaluating on the same music world, if you can say that. So maybe just to begin, can you explain us how you meet and how you decided to work together?
Well, we met around, I can't even remember, probably around 2000 or, and it happens also that we live in the same city for most of the time, and we're both musicians, so I think Carsten has just called me one day, and then we had dinner, and then we had dinner again, but we haven't done any collaboration until 2007, I think.
Then we started. And but what was really funny, like I'm always very surprised that people think that this has no connection, because that's when you look at the early experimentation of Einschütz and Neubauten, and there is a lot of connections. I see a lot of connection actually. I mean.
And it's not exactly that we are not electronic.
No, you've
either.
been actually quite influential on electronic music. I mean, just to mention that basically one of the biggest pop bands like Depeche Mode or say, basically recruited their sound aesthetic pretty much from your guys. I mean, from Neubauten, like this kind of industrial metal drum sounds or whatever. I think that there's a lot of bands basically adapted that and being very influential on electronic music as well. I mean, up to Autegra even, I would say.
That's enough to clarify that. I don't. I guess probably, but I understand that you're of course describing an outside view. For us, it never really seemed to be two disparate things, but obviously probably from the outside, some people look at it that way. Yeah. That has to do with this like whole world of genre separations.
Yeah, I mean, we both really hate that idea of putting us in boxes. You know, that's really something what we. And I think it's good to blur borders. So I think in a way this collaboration makes total sense for us. Yeah.
Okay, and so what was the project first, and how did he evaluate? You know.
I think we started really. Blixer was saying that earlier. We started with thinking always about playing live. Like,
we started with performance.
Basically, one of the first things what we did was rehearsing for a performance. That was actually in San Francisco. So we have a common friend. He gave us a studio. We rehearsed for almost a week, and in the end of this week, we presented or we performed a piece. But this was really like a lot of tryouts, a lot of improvisation still.
And that's maybe the embryonic cell of what we did later. But the one thing in the concept that was already obvious there is that it will always be in the direction of performing. That it always be with the idea of playing something live. Okay. We didn't start by going to a studio and working on material. So we started with actually making performances, and then taking the experience from doing that and trying to work with that in a studio.
Okay. And now, how do you write? Is it still in live performance, or?
There is a lot for the live performance is actually in the writing too. And there were some pieces like the last one that we played yesterday, Foul, which we exclusively written for a performance. And we have performed it several times before we actually ended up with this particular version on the record. It had, in the original, it had Italian lyrics, and then it had something else. And
London was different.
And then it was originally was 15 minutes long, and
20
minutes long. So, but it was basically performed probably a dozen times before it ended up in this shape on the record.
Right. But we still kind of working on it in a way. Every performance is a little different, of course. So
that has to be like that, yeah.
Okay, and so in ANBB we can hear that you really focused on the sound. And for example, even the voice, you seems to be considered as a support for your work on the sound. So I just wanted to know what kind of sound are you looking for, and why, you know?
Sound, I believe, is completely overrated. I never try to think about sound. Okay. I always try to think about context. Yeah, things make sense in a particular context, or they don't make sense. But that has nothing to do with the quality of sound in itself is not a quality.
Okay.
So I'm not looking for a sound, I'm looking for a context.
Okay. And
that's my answer. I don't know what Carsten thinks. I think Carsten probably thinks different about sound.
I'm just thinking about the answer. It's an interesting answer. But because I would probably say, for me, sound is a incredible strong material, what I really want to take care of course. And maybe it's a different understanding when of course, I agree with Blixer. It always matters where you put, in which context you put that sound, of course.
And yeah, this is like if you would compare it, say, to color. Are there good colors and bad colors?
No, of course not. No.
That's I don't really say I'm looking for a particular red. I look for a particular red if I have a context where I know only this particular red will do. And that's then I am looking for that. But it is not I can't per se just go, I look for that.
But we both share one thing. We really both share a specific interest in, let's say, unconventional ideas, or in experimentation, or that the sound has a specific source what we both love, or I mean, there's a lot of inspiration from sounds we picked somewhere, and then they have a specific story behind or something. But we never really want to make it consumable, easy consumable. We always, I mean, that's we both are.
An unconventional solution is always preferred.
Yes.
There's, I think, in like describing music or discussing music, there are the terminologies are. In most of the time in the media are too narrowed down to really say something substantial about music. When I work on things, that I define first of all music as a problem, and then I work towards a solution, and that solution is the same thing as about context and things like that. That solution either has elegance or it hasn't got elegance. So I'm of course looking for an elegant solution, which is usually not the easy one. It's not, we go from A to B. It's the one going from A via B to C and then back again. And then you say, that's elegant. And then you can say about something that it has charm. That's all things that you normally don't associate with a discussion about music. But that's rather the way I would define a working process.
Okay, and I just want to talk a bit again about the performance, because for you, so it's a live performance, and for the public, I think it's really an experience physically. I mean, and so you play with sounds sometimes really hard, really high, and sometimes we have to put our fingers in the ears,
Really?
And so
you didn't know that, huh?
Sometimes it's really hard. And so you had video too in your performance. So what is your goal, and why do you support this confrontation with the public and with the sound?
It's not confrontation.
Not really, no. I don't see it as a confrontation. Actually, I really enjoy it, and I think a certain physicality and on some moments
it's a bit like
necessary.
Like a head massage in a way. It's like really
the confrontation can be
the screen that takes away the room, and then everything seems to be everywhere because the little bones in your ears are starting to tingle and to move. I just enjoy that with a sheer. Let's say, astonishment about what is physically possible.
I think this is a good example. For instance, Blixer's scream, when basically the room disappears, and it's in technical terms it's called autoacoustics. It's an inner ear hearing. So basically we hear everything in your ear. The room disappears. I think that's fascinating. It's not only acoustically fascinating as well, it's really a great experience, because some people are really shocked about that, because they don't know what's going on, and they think it's fucking loud, but actually it's not so loud. Actually, it's only that it's really happening in your ears. I mean, so of course this is kind of stories we really love, that people have a specific, unique experience. and go to the borders of that even. Yeah? So that you say, okay, let's try it. Let's.
There are a lot of things in the work that Carsten does also with other projects, but in this project, of course, too, which are on the outer edges of the physical possibilities of what you could do. Of course, everything that we do there is coming in the end. What the audience listens to is coming out of a speaker. Yeah, and so only in the combination of speaker and room, everything that we do there, or a lot of what we do there, is at the outer edges of what is physically possible with a setup like that.
Yeah. There is a great, like a small aspect, but we both really liked it as well. It's a part of Berghain. The beginning of Berghain, we use this. Blixer throws this parts of words inside, like
syllables.
Syllables. Yeah. So basically, and then after they get looped, and then you throw some more inside, and then what is happening? You're building these other words together in your brain.
You start hearing words. It's a psychoacoustic phenomenon. There were no
like
words.
Phantom words. You build a phantom out of that word, and I think we really enjoyed that part of the element of this song. Yeah? So this is something we both love. This kind
there isn't. Well, simply it's back to the thing that music, first of all, is a problem. We enjoy the research. We actually enjoy finding something that wasn't there before.
Okay, and what about the video? Can you?
The video is not really a video. We see it as a light source. For us, it's only like actually we decided for this project that there should be not like
no visuals.
No really visuals, but in a way we have this projection using it more or less like a light source. For us, it's not really video content or something. Yeah. And I think this is really, I think one of the reasons I use visuals is because I'm not performing, really. I mean, it's not visible what I'm doing behind the laptop. In this case, totally not necessary, because Blixer, of course, performs. I mean, this is real performance. You can see it, and
suddenly, and that's another phantom too. Suddenly, people seem to think you're performing too, because they see something that they didn't see before.
Yeah. I'm always surprised to say, "Yeah, wow, you have a good stage presence." Say, "What do you mean?" I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, but it is, of course, much more of a performance, also because it's not fixed. It's every piece that we're doing has open doors. There are things that could go totally different. There's no fixed lengths for lots of them. There's no fixed lengths, so we left them all in a state that makes it possible to perform them different each time.
Okay. And do you use different how do you say it? Different support? I mean technologies.
Different technologies.
For which performance?
Oh, I have an iPhone, but I sing and I have 2 loop machines. That's all I have on stage.
Yeah.
And harmonica.
I mean, in the studio, we experimented with a lot of other things, like, but basically for the live setup, we're trying to stay flexible enough to have possibilities, but we pin it down to equipment what is really good setup, and as well where we have a lot of experience to work with. And Blixer uses his loop machine for many years, and the collaboration with Boris, the sound engineer, is really organic together. They can create quite complex patterns out of the voice and words. And that's already a small universe where you can do so much. Yeah? I mean,
even on stage, you work with Boris. That is.
Yeah, Boris is in the audience, on the front of house engineer, but he is kind of part of the.
He has to. Yeah, he knows he knows the structure of everything that we're doing, and he is contributing to the execution. Yeah.
And so now maybe just what is your future and your
What is my
projects
future?
No, that's an interesting
with
question. What is
ANBB?
the
Okay.
future?
We are going. Well, we're going to play more shows this year. It's very questionable if we're going to go to Japan at that stage. You know?
I hope we go.
I hope we go too. 'Cause
Yeah,
I hope
it's more
for,
Japan
let's say
tour.
I hope
Yeah.
for Japan that we go to
I
Japan,
also
not
do,
because of
yeah.
them waiting eagerly for us. But if we're not going, then Japan is
Yeah.
in a very bad stage.
Yeah, this is. I really hope that they're solving that.
Yeah, we were going to Japan later this year, and well, I guess at some point we're going to start on another record.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason we gave it ANBB. The name was as well. It's kind of band name in a way. If you take it, it's because it should be it should be continued in a way. There's an idea to continue,
Okay.
but we don't know yet how and when.
And when, yes, we all have complicated lives
Okay.
that are globally complicated.
Yeah.